Okay, Stuntastic 30 here, and it's been a while since I made a video, and it's also been a while since I've done one of these. I don't think I've actually filmed the entire process of this particular mod, so I figured I'll just film this for archival purposes. I'm not really doing this as a tutorial per se. You know, if you're gonna try this mod, you try it at your own risk, but I'm really just doing it for my own personal reference. And you guys get to kind of watch and enjoy or whatever. So this is a Starlight Studio communicator bracelet. It's non-functioning, it's purely just for looks, and I'm gonna mod it with one of my electronics. I'm not gonna really get into the electronic portion of this. I'm just gonna get into the physical modding of the Starlight Studio communicator. I'll show the process maybe in another video or something like that, but you know, it's really just, you know, it's just soldering all the pieces together. But so first thing I gotta do is pop this off. Sometimes Starlight Studios glue them together, and this particular one it's not, which is awesome, so I could just pop it off. And gotta take this off as well. This looks like it's glued, so I'm gonna have to like pry it off somehow. But I'm gonna modify the mesh and then glue the electronics inside. There's a lot of modding that needs to be done to the top. I have to drill the holes and then modify the rim a little bit, so to make room for the actual electronics to work properly. So let's get started. So here we have an opened communicator center. The mesh is separated from the top. This particular one, it's actually stuck. I can pry it to actually, oh, there we go, I broke it. But I'm not using this one anyway. But you'll see that you don't really need this part, so you can just break that off and then get rid of it. And then you'll just have that piece. So this is all you need for that. So what I'm gonna do, the first thing I'm gonna do is drill the holes into the actual top. Luckily, in Starlight Studio Communicators actually has little divots in the top that kind of guide you over where to drill, so it's pretty easy. I use 3mm drill bits, and they provide the perfect size, not too big, not too small, and it allows 3mm LEDs to fit right through, you know, with little issue. All right, we have the communicator top secured. Got it held down with a C-clamp. This is one of those mini drill presses that holds a hand drill, and you can use it as a drill press. Actually works pretty good. So I have it tight, and this is actually a really crucial step because I have to make sure that this drill bit doesn't slip and go too close to the edge. You know, I mean, this is this isn't the most professional equipment in the world, so it shakes and rattles, so I have to like hold it steady to make sure the drill bit doesn't it goes down pretty straight. So I mean, I've had 98% success rates with this, so I've pretty much I'm comfortable with doing this pretty much. Okay, so this is the rattle that causes all the problems. I haven't really figured out what can I tighten on this thing to actually keep it from rattling back and forth like that. Everything seems to be pretty tight, and it's just like the wiggle room that I can't really help. So to prevent this, I need to push this drill bit all the way in and tighten it as best as I can, so it has less length to actually move. So that short drill bits are probably best for this, and I gotta make sure this is nice and tight because it slips sometimes as well. And then just go completely slow, and also take my other hand and I hold this in one direction because it'll prevent it from rocking back and forth if I just kind of like hold it in one direction and then just go down as I hold it. So that also helps as well. Okay, so this is kind of like what I'm talking about. I'm not really sure I mean, I can write this off as just me being rusty, or the drill press itself, but I'm not really happy with these results. It's a little bit too close to the edge. Like, the drill bit was rocking back and forth and I just couldn't get it stable enough to drill a clean hole. So I'm gonna try again with another top. I mean, this is good enough, like it'll work, but I'm not really happy with it, so I'm gonna do it again. Much better, much better. See that? That's the hole that I'm looking for. See how much cleaner that is? And how much space between the edge? A lot more space than the other one. So that's the results that I'm looking for. So now I gotta hope I can do it again. Alright, I think I got it. That is what I'm looking for. Okay, on to the next step. Okay, I was actually looking forward to this next step, but it looks like I might not have to do it because this particular batch I'm working on actually already has it. I'm talking about the opening slit. You see that little shape right there, a little cut? It creates a little slot inside that allows me to pop the communicator open if I ever need to change the batteries. Starlight Studio used to put that on their communicators for a few batches ago, but they stopped doing it after a certain point. So I had to figure out ways to actually add it myself. And before, I used to just take a drill bit and just kind of carve into the side and created an opening. It wasn't as clean as this, but it was functional and it didn't deter from the actual outer look of the communicator. But now I wanted to try something a little different. I actually bought some milling bits that will allow me to actually drill a flat surface, and I wanted to see if I can actually replicate that look with using just a regular drill press. These aren't meant for these aren't meant for hand drills. They're actually meant for milling machines. So let's test that out really quick. I'm going to use this extra top that I have. So this is just a test. So I'm going to attempt to make my own little opening slit with a milling bit. So this is the same stand. I just converted it to use to be on this little vise. So just have to align it to the spot that I want, and simply just drill down, and let's see what happens. That didn't feel good, but I think I got acceptable, semi-acceptable results. it's definitely drilling the hole just like the one that's been professionally made. So that's the professional one, and this is the one that I did by hand. I might need to go a little deeper. I'm gonna have to set it so I can go a little deeper. But I think I might be on the right track with this. This is awesome. I wish I've done this like years ago. All right, so now that I have the holes drilled, this will give me the baseline that I need to start working on the mesh. So the first thing I like to do is to make sure that this is aligned properly. So I'll just make sure that everything is perfectly aligned there. Okay, that looks good. So then after I do that, I flip it over and I take a marker and I just mark out the area that I actually need to trim away. I need to trim away a piece of this, I guess, mesh, so I can, so the LEDs will actually fit through, because the rim blocks a little bit. I also have to open up this rim here, and I'm going to use a Dremel to grind away this part and then open up this part. So I guess I'll show that afterwards, because I need to actually mark that area afterwards. So let me do that. Alright, so instead of using the drill press, I'm going to use the Dremel. That way I can just kind of like hold it steady and really get on there. So yeah, I think that's better. Alright, so I think that's good. See, just take a little bit off, and that should provide enough room for the LEDs to slip through. Now, I already got the metal portion trimmed, and you can see that there's more clearance in these areas by the LEDs. So the one thing I need to do is to take some foam and some wire mesh and wrap it around it to get that traditional communicator look. So the green is foam, and I just cut to shape and make it as thin as I possibly can. But you can use anything else, like felt or whatever, you know, whatever. You can use whatever you want. Right, after you cut your desired shape, now this is the part where why I made sure that this was perfectly aligned with the grill. It's because this would help me align the mesh in the proper orientation. So you see those diamond shapes? I make sure those diamond shapes basically match or parallel to where these holes are. And make sure that they're properly aligned. Once I get that alignment right, then I just wrap it around it, and we'll have that look. And this is pretty much a fail-proof method. Doing it this way pretty much always ensures that the mesh is always properly aligned with the grill on the top. Now, if it comes out a little crooked, you can just kind of like twist it around until everything is right. Just make sure you don't actually shift the disc, the original mesh. So it looks like I got it on the first try. So I think that's actually pretty good. So the next step after I do this is to literally cut away the axis. check, make sure nothing twisted. And as long as nothing twisted, this is pretty much good for the next step. Now, I like to take some super glue and drip it around the rim so it actually has like a nice firmer hold, especially for the next step, because this needs to hold in place while I work on it too. Alright, so while this dries, I can work on the body itself. Now, there's not much that needs to be done to this particular one, but I should note that some Starlight Studio communicators are made differently, where the height of this button varies and the length of the actual stem that sticks inside varies. I ran into situations where if the stem is too short on the inside, then it basically won't hit the actual electronics, the button on the tactile switch. It won't hit the tactile switch on the inside, which pretty much kills the entire mod. And I tried to make a solution. Actually, I'm working on a solution where I'm gonna get custom buttons made that's similar to how the buttons work in a Legacy Communicator, where it's a top hat design where the button actually is inserted from the inside, and it prevents it from falling out and allows basically perfect presses. Normal Legacy Communicators don't have a work inside button. This is actually a modified version. So in this situation, I don't have to do that because it sticks in far enough to where it's actually going to hit the tactile switch, and it's low enough to where I don't really have to worry about any height issues with it actually hitting the switch. That's another thing that I also have to worry about, but that's an easier fix than the whole button situation. So I already have a set of electronics set up, all soldered up, and I also layered the top portion, or insulated the top portion with electrical tape to prevent any shorting. Normally it looks like this, and I usually either cover it with hot glue or electrical tape. In this situation, I'm using electrical tape. So as you can see, it'll just drop right in. All you have to do is just align it. I'm just gonna test it out. Just drop it right in, align it with the switch, and as long as it's close enough, you don't need to push it all the way up, because then it'll push in the tactile switch and it won't work. But you can hear that it's actually working, so that's good. So time to mount this thing in with some epoxy. I like to use I use different things. I use JB Weld, Loctite, whatever. It's like a 2-part epoxy mix. You mix that up, put it along the bottom, and stick it in there, and just hold it in place until it starts to cure. Alright, now that I have it positioned exactly how I want, it's still, the epoxy is still soft, so I'm going to have to just leave it like that for the next half hour or so. And after it hardens, I can add another coating to like the edges and stuff like that, and then I can insulate the bottom. Alright, the crazy glue is dry and everything is secure, so I can finally do the final step in carving the LED openings and the closing rim while the epoxy hardens on the main body. Now, as I explained before, the reason why I need to carve near the LEDs is because is to prevent shorting issues, or with from the sides of the LED pins, and this part needs to be thinner because it bumps against the tactile switch, and sometimes it'll pull it. If I leave this as it is, it'll pull it away from the side button, or it would push it too close and it will be stuck on. So thinning this out would provide clearance for this to fit through, and the button would remain unaffected. So that's what we need to do. I don't have my camera set up before to actually film me doing this particular one, but what I will do is show you guys a video of me doing this already from a previous run. One side, you can see that now there's more clearance between the sides. So I would do that to the other side, so let's do that. There we go. Alright, so that's nice. And you'll see that it doesn't actually affect it. You don't see it at all. I've been doing this for so many times that I know when to stop so I don't go too deep. Alright, so that's good. And now this part is this one is probably the most risky part, because I'm getting I gotta use the tip and I gotta keep my hand perfectly still while I shave along the edge. So let's see if I can do this without screwing up. I think that's about it right there. I think so. Yeah, that'll work. So that's basically it. You see. Okay. All right. So that is done. All right. This is done. You can see that this edge is nice and thin. The areas to LEDs have been opened up. So that shouldn't be causing any problems. And this is now ready. Oh yeah. Alright, so we are almost done. We have the mesh made, all the necessary holes and areas drilled and grinded. The electronics are glued in and everything is secure and working. The only thing I need to do to this is add the extra insulation along the bottom, and what I do, I just take 2 pieces of electrical tape, like thin electrical tape, and then I just cut to shape and just insert it along the bottom. And so, with a bit more finesse than that. There we go. I always forget how tedious this is. Should be good. It's a little bit too big, but I think it'll be fine. Yep.
Okay. So that's all set. And you know what? I haven't even tested this thing, but I know it's working. Insert the battery, and it's working. All right. So now the closing ceremonies. Now this is. I love it when I get to closing ceremonies because it's pretty much the deciding factor on whether or not I screwed something up. Because once it's closed and it doesn't work, I start freaking out because it's like, all right, why is it not working? Or maybe one light doesn't work. I'm like, oh God. So this is like the most nerve-wracking part out of all of the things that I had to do, is making sure that after everything closes, it works. So let's start by putting insert one, and then insert the third. Wait. Insert both LEDs. Oh my God. Don't break on me. Alright, battery. And now I'm actually going to insert a fresh. All right, so now I'm gonna just align it, make sure everything is straight. And I push it in. Oh boy, it works, yes. Now I just have to do a few little tweaks here because one of the LEDs is sticking out a little bit too much. So I just kind of like use this to push it down a little bit. There we go. And that's basically it. It's ready for prime time. So the only thing I need to do now is attach it to a nice set of bands, and there we have it. Fully modded Starlight Studio communicator. I'm a little tired, that's why my energy is a little low, but hope you guys enjoyed the build. So, thank you guys for watching.